Well, today on The Square, our focus is on Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, with some political gladiators in the party openly stating they are undecided about their support for the presidential flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar. There are concerns the party may be having cracks from within. There's the issue of Nyesom Wike, a presidential aspirant and governor of Rivers State in Nigeria's southern region, and his importance to the PDP. The Osun Governorship election also provides another opportunity to win a significant contest ahead of the 2023 election. But is the PDP ready? Welcome to The Square. I'm Sulaiman. Now, following the emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the presidential candidate of Nigeria's main opposition party, the PDP, there's been a number of issues in the party. Now, Atiku announced Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, a medical doctor, as his running mate, and that has led to a division in the party. The man closest to Atiku in that election, Nyesom Wike, is considered as one of the most important members of the PDP and a key asset to its aspirations. The choice of Ifeanyi Okowa has created displeasure in some sections of the PDP, as party faithfuls say Wike is a stronger running mate. Now, the party's National Campaign Council, ahead of the July 16 Osun election in southwest of Nigeria, may, however, be an attempt to appease disillusioned members of the party's powerful fabric. I have top party chieftains joining me on The Square today. Now, Fabiyi Oladimeji, he's the Director of Support Group and Events at Atiku Abubakar Presidential Technical Committee 2023, and Ken Okolugbo, he's a public affairs analyst. And of course, pretty much later, I hope to get Hakeem Amode, the publicity sector of PDP, joining me live here in our Lagos studios. Gentlemen, good to have you here. Let's start by asking Fabiyi. You've been, an ardent supporter of Atiku Abubakar right from his vice presidential days till this moment. How do you feel seeing him emerge again as your party's candidate?
Oh, thank you very much, Sulaiman. Good to see you again. My brother, good to see you. For me, I feel so elated in the sense that I feel very happy for Nigeria because at the point Nigeria is now, what we need is what I could say that where you put the square peg in square hole. You would agree with me, the situation of Nigeria as we speak today. We need someone who truly understands the dynamics, who believes in Nigeria, and he has lived and still living in Nigeria. He has ate and is still eating Nigeria. He has slept and still sleeping in Nigeria. I feel happy because Nigeria is going to have it better than what we're having currently. Atiku has been a long-standing associate of Nigeria for a long time, and for him to come on board, a lot of Nigerians are excited about it because here is a man who is prepared to lead this country. One or two occasions he has been at the ballot paper at the national level, but he was unable to get it. Now, I believe it's going to be different. Atiku, for me, is a better deal for this country, and that's one of the reasons I'm happy, because my relationship with him has shown to me that is a man who is not just experienced, who does not just have the capacity, but is well prepared for this country. And I say this with all sense of responsibility because of my long-standing relationship with him. Let me take you back to the first time he ever tried to contest for the president of this country, which was in 1993. He came up with a blueprint. And in 2007, when at the twilight of the administration with Obasanjo, he came up with programs that he hoped, to run for this country. So, and each and every time he has signified his interest to run for this country, he has always come up with his policy choices, what he intends to do, and how he's going to do them. So it means that Atiku is a man who is prepared for this country, who understands this country, who knows what this country needs at the time. And you give him to his credit, a man who has penchant for identified talents. It means that when he gets there, he knows how to bring in people that can actually add value, because all this we're talking about is not about Nigeria.
Dimeji, I'll come back to you. I just want, you're just getting warmed up. I can see that. But again, we'll come to you. And let me quickly welcome Hakeem Amode, who is the publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos State. He's live with me in the studio. It's good to see you, and thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you for having me here.
And again, you know, I had a conversation. We had conversation with a PDP chieftain here on the square, and he said something about your party being excited here in Lagos, because let's first of all ask, how is the Lagos PDP doing at the moment?
Lagos PDP is doing fantastically well. We're ready for APC. We're warmed up. We're ready to go.
Because this is 2022, for a long time coming. Just, you know, in every election year, the PDP always comes close, but a distant close, as they'll say. And some have said perhaps this is because of some kind of infighting in the PDP. So have you been able to resolve all of that just before this big election?
Yes. Sometimes people say politics is all about conflict resolution. There's bound to be issues. Issues are meant to be resolved. At this point, we're doing reconciliation, holistic reconciliation across board. So we're ready for APC. We're in the mood for the election.
Let's see if Ken Okolugbo is live now. And Ken, you also once a politician who is on break at the moment, and of course a political scientist. Quickly here, help us here make sense of this, the outcome of the PDP primaries. Ken Okolugbo.
Well, thank you, Sulaiman. I don't think yes, a politician will always be a politician. Will I follow the words of what a lot of said today?
I wanted that clarity to come from you.
The situation on the ground. The PDP has been a formidable party, but you remember that the party has been in opposition for 7 years. It's bound to have a lot of challenges. But I think the challenges.
Well, Ken, we seem to be having.
Okay, you wanted the words.
Yeah, no, I wanted that clarification to come from you, so I had to push that and say, once a politician, perhaps you should let the people know if you're still a politician. But again, you've made that clarification live on television. But there seemed to be a glitch in the connection to you or from you. So we're hoping that we can have a seamless conversation. I want my producers to reconnect with you while I go straight to Fabiyi Oladimeji. Fabiyi, quickly here. Now, looking at your candidate, Atiku Abubakar, you've said all fantastic things about him, but the question Nigerians are asking is, will Atiku help the PDP take their best foot forward in the coming elections?
Of course. You will see that if you monitor the presidential primaries of our party, you will see the energy, especially from the youth. You will see the noise. You will see the happiness, the excitement in the faces of our youth and stakeholders of the party. Because a lot of people had even, said it, they predicted it before the primaries that Atiku was going to win that election. And the reason is very simple. Here is a man that, given any part of this country, mention Atiku. There are 3 of his kind. But we have someone like Obasanjo that mention his name all over, anywhere in Nigeria, they know him. Mention President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, Obasanjo is no more contesting. Mention Jonathan. Mention Atiku. Every local government, every ward in this country. And PDP wants to get back to power. So PDP wouldn't have committed that blunder by bringing any other one who does not have this mileage. And apart from that, here was the man who contested the general election against the current president. It widely believed that he won the election. And they did what they did with it. This man had over 11 million votes in his pocket. So PDP will not take that chance. So Atiku remains the best foot forward for PDP, whether anybody wants to agree with. So and the PDP knows this, and that's why you see the way the delegates swung and make sure that he matched.
Quickly here, Dimeji, I don't mean to butt in, but quickly here, you said, well, the PDP couldn't afford to make any blunder, and that's why the Atiku was elected as your candidate. But many, even within your party, they already have pointed out a big blunder, and that's his running mate, Governor Okowa.
Okowa couldn't have been a blunder. Let me tell you something. In an election, in every contest, there must be a winner and there must be a loser. Give it to those who are not happy about it. Because they didn't win. If it had gone the other way around, perhaps Atiku too would not be happy, but Atiku would not shake the foundation of the party because he's a party man. And that's what, this is my own opinion, this is what I expected, or I expect of the other people who contested. And you can see what Atiku did immediately emerged. The first assignment he did was to go around all other aspirants that contested, against him. And he went to meet everybody. So if we now say that because of his choice of the running mate, there are issues, I don't know where that is coming from. And I say this because the candidates all over the world has rights to pick whoever he feels he can work with as his running mates. Then beyond that, the party set up a process that was duly followed, that was duly carried out. And a recommendation was made. Three option. And the candidate, because of the right he has, chose somebody he feels he'll be able to work with them. He never said the other people are not qualified. He never said they don't merit it. But he felt, okay, I'll be more comfortable working with this gentleman than. So the issue of the fact that because he picked Okowa, and that is why the roof is going to be removed, is not so. Most all of these people are partner. Okowa has a pedigree of a performer. Okowa has a pedigree of somebody who has done well in the state. Look at his investment in education. Look at what he has done in terms of infrastructure. Look at what he has done in the economy of the state.
I'll come to you. Let me quickly bring back Hakeem, who's here with me in the studios. And Hakeem, this is the 5th time we're getting to see Atiku. That's his 5th attempt at the presidency since 2007. So what do you think will change the dynamics of saying that he's just not a contestant, but a winner?
Today, Nigerians are ready. Nigerians wanted change. And Nigerians see in Atiku, what Nigeria sees in Atiku is a gentleman who has served this nation meritoriously, who is willing to give everything he's got to the country. Is somebody who has been there before, well exposed, well experienced, knowledgeable about what Nigeria needs at this time. So Nigerians at this point needed somebody who will fix the security situation in the country, somebody who knows what education is all about, somebody who knows the youth. If you look around him, you see that a lot of youths are following what he's doing, and they are also in his camp. So he understands what Nigeria needs at this point in time. And Nigeria knows that we cannot afford to have another 1 day more of APC, going with what is happening in the country at this point. If you go back to where the nation was few years before APC takes over and where we are today, it's a different ball game. It's a different thing entirely. Nigeria wants Atiku. Nigeria is willing and ready for Atiku presidency. This is the right time for Atiku. Atiku at this point is what Nigeria needs to move Nigeria forward.
Well, Ken, I understand Ken is now live with us over the phone or into some glitch in that video connection. Ken, thanks for the patience and thanks for your time as always. And Hakeem has said, well, this is Atiku's time and Nigerians want Atiku. But again, if you look at the PDP looks like almost a divided PDP at the moment. We have people who are not happy about the outcome of the primaries. Again, some have also looked at the Delta State governor, who is the running mate, as someone who's disappointed the southern region, talking about the Asaba Accord. Speak to us more on what the Asaba Accord is about.
Well, interestingly, looking at it as a political analyst, it's a difficult pill to swallow down the throat. The party has to accept, the PDP as a party has to accept that apart from reconciliation, there will be a lot of sense-mending outside of the party. If you look at the statements of the South leaders, the Middle South leaders, the APC, and even the Senate, they clearly said that our cause was one to produce a southern president. And if you look at the two parties, if you suppose the APC and the PDP, the APC stood by the Asaba Accord because all the South governors of the APC supported a southern president. So it therefore looks like, because in the PDP, that the southern governors reneged on the Asaba Accord. But looking at it now from a position of the party, what is present, what the party presently presents is one that there has been a disquiet. I listened to one of the governors of the party, Samuel Otom, and you could see that he was completely not committed to working for Atiku Abubakar. He refused to answer clearly when he was asked if he was going to work for Atiku Abubakar. He said he was still praying and he was hibernating. If you also read the body language of Nyesom Wike, who is in Turkey, and it's okay, so they haven't committed to working for the party. They have not even congratulated the vice presidential candidate of the party, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa. So that leaves a lot to be desired. And if you also look at the former governors of Delta, who I know are in the PDP, Chief Analyst and Dr. Emmanuel Udwa, we are yet to see any congratulatory message to the vice presidential candidate, who is supposed to be one of their own. So this leaves us with a lot of questions. Are we going to, is the party going to go into an election with such a divided house? The earlier they mend the fences, the earlier the chances become brighter. Now, two very key people left the PDP, Rabiu Kwankwaso, who we cannot deny the fact that he has a massive movement up north, the Kwakwansia movement, which is very strong in Kano, and has been joined by Shekarawa, another very strong APC stalwart. Then we have Peter Obi, who was able to deliver the Southeast to the PDP in the 2019 election, and was said to have also been instrumental to the strong showing that they had in Lagos. So if you look at these two people whom you cannot wish away, one would naturally believe that the votes of the PDP will be votes that will be taken by these two individuals, one from the north and one from the south-south. So if the PDP is not careful, if they go with the fact that Atiku Abubakar is from the south, is from the north, and traditionally the northerners will always want to support theirs, that might not be the case here, because if they do not, if they dismiss Kwakwanso and dismiss Peter Obi, it will not be a good strategy. And so they need a lot of sense mending at this material point in time, because the Asaba Accord will always come to haunt the issue of the vice presidential candidate and the issue of the North now taking over from the North, because Buhari is seen to be the president of Nigeria, not only the president of PDP. Yes, it might be a good strategy having an Atiku Abubakar at this material point in time, but these areas that I've pointed out are areas the PDP most certainly have to put their house in order. Otherwise, they'll go into that election. If you look at Ekiti State, for example, it was the division that was in the PDP that made the PDP have such a dismal outing. They came a distant third with votes that have never been ascribed to PDP in an election. And so Osun will be a test case for the PDP to show that it can bounce back.
Well, Ken, I was going to jump in there. I don't know if you did hear me. Can you hear me now, Ken?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, great. I just wanted to be sure you can hear me. Before I move on to Fabiyi, I need to make something clear, which first, you're from Delta State, and it's not all the time we have someone who's around a region who's also a subject expert on an issue. And Asaba Accord is a meeting that was hosted by the Delta State governor, which basically held in May of 2021, where it was agreed that the power in the next election must move to southern Nigeria. And we've also seen, after the emergence of Atiku Abubakar, quite a number of op-ed and editorials calling some politicians betrayals. Now, speak to us quickly here about this. How do you think the PDP can actually resolve this if they had a host who not only agreed, but hosted every other politician in that region to say it must come to us, or turning around to supporting a northern candidate and ultimately becoming his running mate? How can you assuage the pains, complaints of these other politicians to make them come under one umbrella?
What I think Atiku Abubakar should do at this point in time is that he has emerged the candidate of the party. And once you emerge the candidate of a party in the presidential level, you are the leader of the party. Since the PDP is not in government, he's the leader of the party. The buck stops at his table. He made the choice. And what I would also say is that where he also got it wrong was he should never have allowed the committee to sit. The ultimate choice of a running mate comes from Atiku Abubakar. Why did he allow a committee to be set up? Why would he have allowed the committee to be set up? And today it was confirmed by the governor of Benue that 14 people voted for Wike and 3 people voted for Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. He said it, and it's now in the public domain. And he said he was a member of that committee. Now, if you were not going to stand by the report of the committee, you should never have allowed the committee. I remember in 2019, I was actively involved then with the party. The choice of Peter Obi was not, he did not set up any committee to choose Peter Obi. He chose Peter Obi on his own. There were rancors. There is no time you make a choice anyway without any rancor. There were rancors from the likes of Ike Kuremadu and others who thought that he should have been chosen as a running mate at that particular point in time. But he died early because there was no committee set up. So I think where he can quickly heal this wound in the PDP, if I look at it from a perspective of having a leader, is to quickly call the parties together. Because Wike has clearly said that he was betrayed, and I'm sure the betrayal he must have been referring to was the Asaba Accord. And now, if as a party they keep dwelling on Asaba Accord, they will not. The party will not move forward towards winning an election. So to heal the Asaba Accord is to call the parties, especially the ones that are feeling very terrible at this material point in time, and also call the region and make them understand why he had to take the certain decisions he took as a presidential candidate.
Okay, let me bring in Fabiyi here. Fabiyi, you've listened to Ken, and you also heard my questions, and these are some of the concerns that some other PDP members and Nigerians who are rooting for the PDP want addressed. Love him or hate him, we're talking about people who can bring the gains to your party, and notably Nyesom Wike and the state of Rivers is key in ensuring that you get that. So what do you think the PDP and your candidate should be doing at this point in time?
Well, thank you very much, Sulaiman. Let me first I want to agree with some of the things Ken said, but it plays where I disagree was where he said, yes, I listened to Governor Benue today saying that there was an election. First and foremost, there was no election because the national chairman of the party, on the day of the presentation of certificate, on the national television said there was no election. So we should forget about this and let's find a way to move forward. And that's what Atiku has started doing from the womb. Now, I think for us, Ken said, just like Ken said, Atiku has become the leader of the party right now. And the Atiku that I know knows the power of unity and inclusion. And I'm sure the process has started. We recognize the fact that some people will certainly be aggrieved. And Atiku understand the fact that he needs to reach out to them. So here, in all of this, what matters most is engagement. And both the party leadership and Atiku will do that. And I know the process has commenced. So as far as I know, I don't want us to begin to dwell. I want the party leadership to see how they can manage this. Wike is a formidable force, as much as Okowa is a formidable force. I don't want to go to the issue of Asaba Accord because if you go there, we'll delve into so many things that has gone to the past because party has rights, they have their constitution to say this is what we want to do. And if you look at PDP, the last presidential candidate of the PDP was from the south. So it has to go to the north. And that settles everything. Now we have a candidate. I think what is important is for all of us who are members of the party, who claims to be true party members, to come together, because if we are not united, there's no how we can win this election. We have an APC government who has done so badly, but tenaciously still want to hold on to power. They are coming to this election with three things. They are coming with propaganda. They are coming to tell us that they have done so much in infrastructure, and they are coming with a lot of money to buy votes. So we'll wait and see how far this goes. So PDP should realize this and have this at the back of their mind. The leader of the party today is Atiku Abubakar. And if we say we are party leaders, what we need to do now is to come together and get this government away from APC and give Nigerians the better deal that they deserve. So it's engagement, and Atiku will not stop.
Are you saying your party doesn't have the money to also buy votes?
PDP has never bought votes. You know, this is the difference between PDP and APC. See, PDP is not a party that lies. It's not a party of liars like the APC. They are not a party of people who will do something white, they will call it black for you like the APC. And that's what differentiates PDP from the APC. So we're not going to do that. We're going to this election on the strength of the membership, the genuine membership that we have in this country. APC today will tell you they have 27 million. Where are the 27 million? We saw what happened in Anambra. PDP has never done that. Where over 400,000 people elected a candidate, and at the general election, only 20,000, 5,000 people voted for him. That is the difference. So we are not a party of lies. We are not liars. We are not a party of propagandists. We are not a party of deceitful deceit. So for us, we are going into this election united, and we are going to make sure we go united and deliver this country for PDP through Atiku.
I'll come back to you, and let's quickly come to Hakeem here. Hakeem, you know, the PDP has never ruled Lagos, and I'm happy to see the smile on your face. Perhaps you should be able to let us in on what you think about Adediran Jandor. Is it strong enough to give the incumbent governor, Governor Sanwo-Olu, a run?
It will not only give Sanwo-Olu a run, it will beat Sanwo-Olu. I need you to go around Lagos and see what it is. I was born, bred in Lagos Island, where the so-called leadership of APC would have said they grew up, they have family background there. I was there early today. The place was so dirty. There was waterlogged everywhere. I'm saying for a couple of years now, we have had a particular street called Igaidu-Goron, which is badly managed. Idu-Magbo is also waterlogged. These are where Sanwo-Olu, the likes of the leadership of the party, will say they are from. This is bad. It is not even good for them. If you look at what they say they've generated in Lagos, does that measure up with what we have in Lagos today? The development we have in Lagos compared to the amount of money that go into APC. APC has done badly in Lagos State. Lagosians can see it for themselves. And we can see where we are. Lagos is so dirty. The economic situation in Lagos is bad. You can see what is happening. The security situation in Lagos State is bad too. Look at what happened a few days in Ojo. On the way to Badagry, Mowo area, there was a killing there. What did Lagos State government did or do about this situation? We have security challenges every day. We still have Okada in Lagos, where they say they banned Okada. So how can you now come back to say that APC is the best thing that ever happened to Lagos? We had a government in Lagos State. Same group of people have been ruling Lagos State for 20 years.
Is there truly a difference between APC and PDP nationally and even locally, talking about Lagos?
A lot of difference. Take, for example, in Lagos State PDP is a democratic party. It is not a one-man show in Lagos State. We will go to congresses where we elect our candidates. Nobody impedes anybody in our party. So it is a party where you're free to come and say, I want to contest, and the people and members of the party will vote for you. So that alone differentiates us from the APC. So PDP is a party that is coming on board now to change things for Lagosians. Lagos is for Lagos. We have had a lot of capital flight from Lagos to other states, things that are supposed to be used for Lagos and for Lagosian. The benefit for Lagosian that are supposed to be, that they can see, is no longer there. Our money is taken to several states of the Federation to contest election. This should not be happening in Lagos State.
And before I go to Ken quickly here, give us an update about on your candidate, Banky Wellington, Banky W. Is he running?
Yes, he's running. He's a candidate of our party in Etiosa. You can look at what he did 4 years ago. Look at the votes he had 4 years ago when he was at a party with no structure. And see now he's on board PDP.
But what exactly happened before? Earlier, you know, there was news about him losing out, and pretty much later there was another one, another primaries that held, and he emerged.
He has always been the candidate of the party. He has always been the candidate of the party. He emerged at the first primary, and the whole state had a rerun, not only in Etiosa, and he also emerged again as the candidate of the party. Issues might have happened. The party noticed what has happened in Lagos State, and they have chosen to call for rerun in the whole of Lagos State, not only in Etiosa. So all of the candidates that are emerged now are candidates that are elected by members of PDP in Lagos State.
Okay, Hakeem. Ken, let's come back to you, Ken. You know, Fabiyi said something about money, and we understand that to prosecute an election anywhere in the world, specifically presidential elections, is big money. And again, you know, let's also talk about some of the things that we've seen, the fallout of the primaries. It comes back to the leadership recruitment process. And it was recently we saw Nigeria's speaker lamenting on national television about many of the lawmakers not coming. Give us an overview of how it went across the country, specifically in southern part of Nigeria.
Okay, well, I think at this point in time, even though there is a northern and southern dichotomy, but Nigeria is really going to be talking about the northern and southern dichotomy on the 25th of February 2023. Nigerians are looking for who's going to put food on their table. If you notice the shift that has gone to Peter Obi now, the momentum that Peter Obi is having, it's not only because he's from the southeast. Peter Obi is having that momentum because they see Peter Obi as very frugal, someone who can manage the economy of the country the way he managed the economy of Anambra State, and someone who has been perceived to have the economic prowess to solve the burning issues that we face as a country right now. Naira is almost at 610 to 615 naira to a dollar. The misery index is still at an all-time high, that is unemployment and inflation. And so the only advantage that the Southern presidency is bringing now is those who have come up in the Southern presidency. If you notice, you also have a young man called Atiku of the APC. You have Oladimeji of the APC. And who else has really come from the South? Sobore, and I can't remember any other person now who is of the Southern extraction. But Nigerians are not going to be looking at that, I believe, Sulaiman Aledeh on the 25th of February 2023. They're looking for who will take them back to where they were before. But the North looks like something that was a joker for the PDP, who has a northern candidate now, because the PDP is the only party right now that has a leading candidate that is from the north. There are disadvantages, no doubt about it, because one is a Fulani man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Fulani extraction, but because of the going battles that the headers have had with the farmers and so many other issues that have been characterized by the government of Buhari, you also can't wish away that poker of going from one Fulani man to one Fulani man at this material point in time. That cannot be wished away. The people from the south are also wary of it. If you notice, when the Archbishop was kidnapped of the Methodist Church, the prelate of the Methodist Church, he said it was all Fulani boys that kidnapped him, and they were, and everything they had said was materialized when they attacked the church in Owo. The government said it was attacked by ISWAP. So, all this correlation comes with insecurity. And so the thing that maybe boys are emboldened because we have a Fulani president at this material point in time. And so by the time you're handing over to another Fulani man, it's going to do the same thing. So you just cannot remove that trigger. So it depends on the perspective you're actually going to look at it, Sulaiman Aledeh. But I still believe that it would have been the best for all the parties. We had a southern presidential candidate all through. That's what I believe.
Okay, let me bring in Fabiyi here. And just recently, not too long, Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom said he's still doing what? He's still praying. And that's a big one, that he's still praying on his support for Atiku and is not sure about where he stands. So do you think such supports would have been nailed if it were to be Wike's candidacy?
Ortom is the leader of the party and is a governor. He is entitled to his own opinion. He is entitled to his feelings and emotion. I listened to him on Arise Television, your sister television, this morning, and I give it to him. He's the leader of the party. But I do know that as he's praying, because everybody keeps praying, even Obasanjo just said he was praying, and I thank God answered him, he acted. I hope God leads him right. This is his party. I join in prayer so that God can lead him to support his party, to support the candidate of the party if he's truly a party man. This thing has gone beyond an individual. And this is what I want some of our leaders or some of their grief persons to realize, to understand. This is not about Atiku Abubakar, it's about this country. It's about the future of this country. They have done their own. He's been governor 2 times. As you think about the generation of Nigeria that are still coming, it's about this country. It's not about them, it's not about Wike, it's not about Ortom, it's not about anybody, it's not about Atiku. It's about this country. He knows, I'm sure he knows what APC has done to his government. And he wants APC government to continue well. I wish him luck. But I pray that I join him in prayer that God should lead him to support the candidate of his party and his party to deliver Nigeria. As far as I know, it's all politics. And I know that he will not leave the party, or will not do otherwise, because he too has contributed immensely. Even the Governor Wike is fighting for, has contributed immensely to the party, and I don't see Governor Wike doing otherwise because he has invested so much into this party. And we recognize that. And Atiku is the subject here recognizes the might and the strength of Governor Wike. So all these things will be over because Atiku knows what's, that's why I told you, it's about engagement. And he knows the power of unity going into an election. He knows the power of inclusion, and Atiku will not leave. He's a leader who has gone through all these things, this baptismal of fire of national elections. A lot of things distinguishes him from every other aspirant. Apart from being the most prepared, apart from being experienced, you understand. How many of them have been on national tickets? How many of them? Is it the APC guy? Is it the Peter Obi that they are talking about? And for Peter Obi, I just hope our youth will be able to think very well and interrogate deeper, have a critical assessment, critical interrogation of who they are supporting 2023 moving forward. The fact that someone has said, I understand, I have what it takes to do this, it doesn't just stop there. How? The question is how? For us in Atiku camp is why Atiku, and we can tell everybody who cares to listen why it has to be Atiku at this time. For Peter Obi and the rest of them is how. You can see that APC has nothing to campaign on.
Well, no doubt. We've had the APC here, and we'll also get the Labour Party. But quickly here, your party just lost a chance in Ekiti, and there's another coming in Osun State. I'd like to bring this to you and Ken, but first with you. Now, and just recently, Ayo Fayose, who is the former governor of Ekiti State, has gone ahead to say something. He's got a tweet which is trending, and that's it there. The current president of Nigeria is a 2-term northern presidency, he says, thus implying that it must be a southern presidency in 2023 or nothing in caps. And he spoke in Yoruba there, our South Locom. Nigerians should await details soon. So you're Yoruba, and you also understand what he meant by that word. Do you think Ayo Fayoṣe is pulling out of this big support that your party is gathering?
Well, thank you very much. Really, I don't like to comment on Governor Fayoṣe because of the respect I have for him. But I must say this, and with all sense of responsibility, the outcome of the election was a big disappointment, and it was a mistake. And I put everything at the doorstep of Governor Fayoṣe, the acclaimed leader of the party in that state. I'll stop at that. See, whatever we do today, prosperity will continue to judge us, at the later date. As far as I know, I wish Governor Fayoṣe well in his pursuit for the Southern presidency. I'm a Southern, and I'm supporting a Northern candidate because I want to ensure justice is done as it affects my party. Because the last the president this country produced in my party was from South, and now it has to be from North. If we go into this analysis, we will not finish this thing today. And the question I have for Governor Fayoṣe is whether he's doing this for the South truly, or he's doing it for himself. We are yet to see all of those things. A lot of information rumors have been going about, or let me say, information from every quarter that Governor Fayoṣe is not truly with the PDP. But I'm yet to see that until when the day he comes out and says it's for another party. So whatever it is, the party has done a lot for him. The party gave him ticket, made him governor, even when there are other people that should be given that ticket. And what happened in the last election was as a result of his one-man show that made us lose that place. Because Oni would have been a better candidate. Today would have been celebrating PDP government in Ekiti State. But because Governor Fayoṣe has his own game, he did what he did, and PDP lost that place. Look at all social media. Everybody is saying it's a sellout. And I don't want to join them in saying it, but that's what everybody is saying, that it's a sellout. So for me, God of justice will fight for PDP in this coming election. Ekiti people now know who their leader is. They now know who they can say this is our leader and who to follow. Go to Ekiti and make your findings. You hear what people are saying there. That was the one who made us lose this election in Ekiti State. And that's too bad for a man whom the party has given all the opportunities in this world. So when I look at these our governors talking, that they always forget that we have governors in the past. Where are they today? You don't even think that they're going to leave the place one day. So as far as I know, PDP will rally, the leader of the party will rally everybody. The leader of the party talks to Fayoṣe, he talks to everybody. They are friends, they are associates, they will talk to themselves. But they must remember that this is not about Atiku, it's not about them, it's about the future of
all right, let me bring in Ken before we come back to the studios so that Hakeem can tell us more about the PDP here in Lagos. And Ken, I just asked Fabiyi to comment on what Fayoṣe has tweeted, and it looks as if the gulf is getting wider by the minute, and these are party chieftains. And let us in what you think the PDP, especially the National Working Committee, can do to convince Nigerians that they're ready to be in power again, and also bring every other dissenting voice back on fold.
Okay, that actually goes back to what I said earlier. The PDP should not leave himself now. The leader of the party, which is Atiku Abubakar, has a lot of in-house first mending to do, because as far as there is not one that talks without, there's no spoken out when it comes to our party. What you must also understand that the demand for themselves abandoned by the party when no national campaign was done. The national campaign was put in place, but like Sulaiman Aledeh, who immediately went to campaign for the APC once he emerged, I think from nowhere to be found here. Especially vice presidential candidate felt that the euphoria that has been used to head to APC. Yes, that might not have changed the future, but that would have added a lot to the elections of the Fashion appears to be a problem of the party in the country. But we also can't speak in the power, she does the same way, and we cannot have him. So if he says that, which was the thinking of majority of the members of the PDP, as at when Atiku had not emerged, that the power should have shifted to the south, it therefore shows that a lot of them are still not happy that Atiku's emergence. So the issue of south still will keep reverberating. At this material point in time, as someone who of data, if I look at the data of the elections of last gubernatorial elections in APC, the PDP had 178,000 and the APC had 197,000. Now the PDP has 67,000 and the APC has 187,000, and that is a localized election. So if you go before Fabiyi has said, it's only natural that Atiku will not make 25% in APC. Because if you localize the election that the people are supposed to be interested in who becomes their governor, the PDP can score 67,000. And one of the movers of that election, Fabiyi now, is talking like he doesn't want to work for the party. I don't see how Oladimeji, the senator there and others can rally around to you.
All right, okay. Let me come back to the studios here, Ken, and come to Hakeem. Hakeem, now looking at what we've seen from the national scale, and it's interesting to note that, you know, since 1999, you haven't actually had a taste of governance in Lagos, even though you know what's wrong in Lagos. So how can your party break the jinx?
Okay. Like I said earlier on, today we have someone who is a very young man, 44 years of age. The youth are excited about him and what he brings to the table. Lagosians are actually looking forward to this young man. And the fact that Lagos is where he is today, it's a different ball game. What we have now is different from what we have 4 years ago. Nigerians, particularly Lagosians, are tired of APC in Lagos. They are tired. They can see that Lagos is not working. There's no reason why Lagos should not be better than Dubai. We had all the resources in Lagos.
You don't think it's, sorry to butt in here, you don't think it's going to be an arduous task for the PDP to win Lagos, more so now that the candidate of the APC is a Lagosian?
Did you say Lagosian? Let's leave that and leave it as it is. Lagosians know, the indigenes of Lagos know who Lagosians are. So let's leave that aside. The fact that he lives in Lagos and he's been living in Lagos for several years doesn't make him a Lagosian. That is another story for another day. But the fact is this, for him being the de facto governor in Lagos, how does Lagosian benefit from him?
Why do you say the de facto governor of Lagos?
Everybody knows that even the present governor will still refer to the candidate of the party for whatever decision they have to make. Yes, exactly. Everybody knows. It's a known fact. Now, see where Lagos is. Going back a few years ago, even going back during the tenure of Governor Fashola, when Fashola left office, there is no, you have a leader who is the leader of the party that cannot tell Amode, mend fences, move Lagos forward. Look at what we had during the last Amode administration. Most of the project that was done by Fashola was left alone. And you have a national leader, you have a leader of the party in the state that cannot bring the two of them together. Somebody who cannot unite his own party in Lagos, the outgone governor and the present governor, as at that time.
Isn't that indicative that he's not a meddlesome interloper? He's not someone who interferes, as you'd want to believe, or want us to believe. So if someone who you have just called a de facto governor didn't do what you say he should have done, isn't that indicative that he doesn't like to interfere?
Lagosians know what happened. Why did he not allow Fashola to go for the second time? That become a major issue in Lagos State, that Lagosian has to cry out. The same thing that happened that time, because Fashola want to be independent, want to be free. The same thing happened in Amode. So that tells a lot. Lagosians can see. They can read the newspaper. They see everything.
So quickly here, because let's get something straight. You said some people are not Lagosians. And if you're going into an election, keep in mind who are the electorates. They're not entirely indigents of the state. So you have to be very careful when you talk about Lagosians. So are you talking about only the indigents casting their ballot on the day for your party? Because if you exclude some others as non-Lagosians, that's a big minus for your party, isn't it?
You ask me a question about a particular person, and I am referring to that particular person. So I am not referring to people who dwell and live in Lagos. They are Lagosians. They are indigents. So I am referring to the candidate of APC.
What's Lagos for Lagos?
Lagos for Lagos means that the people of Lagos must be ruled by Lagosians, not somebody. I said few minutes earlier that there is capital flight in Lagos. There is capital flight. Where we are today, most of Lagos money is being taken for several years out of Lagos to build somebody who then become their candidate today. Now, we saw how Lagos money made the former governor of Osun State the governor. We saw how Lagos money went to Kwara when the present minister for information was contesting for governor of Kwara State. And I can go on, the same thing in Ekiti, the same thing in Osun. So this is what I'm referring to. Lagos money was supposed to be meant to develop Lagos, not for politics outside Lagos. That is what I'm referring to. We need to use Lagos money to develop Lagos, not taking Lagos money outside Lagos to develop other states. Most of those who have been ruling Lagos now take our money outside Lagos to develop another state.
And quickly, let's close on this with you. And it's very important that you clarify this. How do you hope to fund this election? Because we understand, some have said that the PDP in Lagos is broke.
Elections are not funded by individuals. Elections are funded by people who believe in the candidates and who believe in the party. So PDP will fund the election in Lagos, and by the grace of God, we will come victorious. We will defeat APC in Lagos State. I have no doubt in my mind that what we have at hand now, the PDP that we have now, with the combination of those that have left APC to join forces with PDP, if you look over time, the difference is always about 4-5%. And we have what it takes to defeat APC. And surely we will defeat APC come 2023.
I really should have all three of you come back here on the square, especially Hakeem, to tell us more, especially about those his party has been able to get from the APC. I'd like to thank you all for being such a nice company, Hakeem Amode, Fabiyi, Oladimeji, and Ken Okolugbo. And to all those listening to and watching us from 54 African countries and beyond, many thanks for watching. See you again. Bye-bye.